My name is Alex Eala.
Oh,
Hey.
lots of Alexes here.
Lots of Alex.
The microphone looks almost too big for the small hand holding it. That is the first thing that stands out. A child's grip, a child's quiet confidence, and a microphone designed for adults. Sitting across from that young interviewer, just 2 days before her opening match at the Berlin Tennis Open, is the world's number 35 women's tennis player. She is only 21 years old, yet she has already become one of the brightest rising stars in the sport. Her name is Alex Eala.
Why do you love tennis?
In a coincidence the WTA's own social media team couldn't resist highlighting, the young interviewer shares the same first name. From one Alex to another, the conversation begins. The caption simply reads, Alex Eala shares why she loves tennis. It is a straightforward question, but sometimes the simplest questions reveal the most meaningful answers.
I love tennis because it makes me feel empowered, feel confident, makes me feel strong.
The setting is intimate. There is no packed stadium, no roaring crowd, and no championship trophy waiting at the end of the day. Yet when the WTA shared the clip across its social media channels on June 14th, it quickly spread throughout the tennis world. Not because of a spectacular forehand or a dramatic victory, but because of something far more personal. The reaction was driven by warmth rather than analysis, offering fans a rare opportunity to see a different side of Alex Eala beyond rankings, statistics, and tournament draws. It revealed the person behind the player, the version of Alex who exists when no one is keeping score. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments what question you would have asked Alex if you had been the one holding that microphone. That moment carried extra significance because of where it happened. The Berlin Tennis Open is a prestigious WTA 500 event featuring 6 of the world's top 10 players, including Aryna Sabalenka, Elena Rybakina, Jessica Pegula, and Coco Gauff. Alex Eala entered the tournament as one of 4 main draw wildcards, earning her place through the organizer's invitation rather than ranking alone. It was her first appearance in Berlin. And while the kids' press conference is a long-standing tournament tradition rather than an event created specifically for her, the decision to feature the young Filipina alongside some of the biggest names in women's tennis spoke volumes about how the tour now views her growing profile. That choice forms the bridge to the story we are telling today. To understand why this moment mattered, we have to look at the remarkable week that brought her there. Just 8 days earlier, on June 7th, Eala had lifted her second WTA 125 title after battling past Nikola Bartonkova in a thrilling 3-set final, 5-7, 6-3, 7-5, in Birmingham. 3 days later, on June 10th, she returned to the grass courts at Queen's Club, where American teenager Iva Jovic defeated her convincingly 6-2, 6-2 in the round of 16. It was a difficult loss, and a familiar one, as Jovic had also beaten her only weeks earlier at Roland Garros. In the span of just 2 weeks, Eala experienced both the exhilaration of lifting a trophy and the disappointment of a one-sided defeat. Then, only 4 days later, with another major challenge awaiting her in Berlin, she sat quietly on a media day stage, smiled at a young girl who shared her name, and listened as she was asked one simple question: why do you love tennis? That answer would reveal far more than any match result ever could.
I love tennis because it makes me feel empowered, confident, makes me feel strong.
The reason the kids' press conference became more than just another social media feature is because of when it happened. It unfolded in the narrow space between triumph and disappointment, between lifting a championship trophy and absorbing a painful defeat. The warmth Alex Eala displayed on camera was not the effortless confidence of someone riding a winning streak. It was the quiet composure of an athlete processing a setback and still choosing kindness. Some skeptics might dismiss the event as little more than a marketing exercise, another feel-good segment created because those moments perform well on social media. That argument is understandable, but it misses the deeper point. Every media event on the professional tour is carefully organized to some extent. What truly matters is what shines through once the cameras start rolling. In Alex's case, what emerged was not a rehearsed, media-trained response, but a genuine conversation. When a young child asked why she loves tennis, she answered with the same honesty and simplicity with which the question was asked. That authenticity is what made the moment resonate. The setting itself tells the story. On June 14th, 2026, during Berlin Tennis Open Media Day, Alex Eala took part in the tournament's traditional kids press conference ahead of her main draw debut. Within a day, the WTA shared the interview across its Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok platforms, while Philippine sports pages and content creators quickly embraced the clip, presenting it as the kind of question every Filipino fan wished they could ask themselves. The event was widely documented, but what stood out across different outlets was the remarkably consistent reaction. Nearly everyone focused on the warmth, sincerity, and natural connection that unfolded between Alex and the young interviewer. That attention was no accident. Her presence alone was already significant, ranked number 35 in the world, with a career-high ranking of number 29 achieved earlier in the season after her impressive run at Indian Wells. Eala had established herself as one of the sport's fastest-rising talents. She could easily have accepted direct entry into a lower-tier tournament that week, but Berlin wanted her on its biggest stage. The tournament extended her a main draw wild card, not simply because of ranking mathematics, but because she had become a player audiences wanted to watch. And the WTA did not only showcase her on the court, it chose to place her in front of children, giving fans an opportunity to see the person behind the competitor. Then came the detail that made the entire interview unforgettable. The WTA captioned the video, from one Alex to another, because one of the young interviewers happened to share her first name. It was not a scripted moment or a planned marketing angle. It was a coincidence that the production team recognized and wisely allowed to speak for itself. That simple connection transformed an ordinary interview into something far more memorable. A young girl named Alex asking Alex Eala why she loves tennis was a moment nobody could have planned. And the question itself seemed deceptively simple until you remembered everything Alex had experienced only days before. That contrast is what gives the interview its emotional weight. Just 8 days earlier, she had stood on the Birmingham podium holding a championship trophy and speaking into another microphone, this time before a crowd celebrating her victory. There, she delivered a message that revealed just as much about her character as anything she would later say in Berlin.
And I am so honored to be lifting this trophy today. Lifting this trophy does not mean that I will be among the greats yet.
Standing on the Birmingham podium, Alex Eala accepted her trophy with the humility that has become one of her defining qualities. She said, "I am so honored to be lifting this trophy today. Lifting this trophy does not mean that I will be among the greats yet. So I'm motivated to keep working, and I'm grateful for the part that this trophy has played in my journey." Those words captured the mindset of a player who refuses to treat success as the finish line. Even in victory, she spoke not about arriving, but about continuing the climb. That same humility would appear again only days later in Berlin, but under very different circumstances. The kids' press conference did not introduce fans to a different Alex Eala. Instead, it revealed the very same person in a quieter, more personal setting. Between those two moments, however, came a difficult reminder of how unforgiving professional tennis can be. At Queen's Club, Iva Jovic defeated Eala 6-2 in a match that never truly swung in Alex's favor. It was a decisive loss, and her second defeat to the young American in just a matter of weeks, following their meeting at Roland Garros. Carrying that disappointment into Berlin, Eala could easily have allowed frustration to shape her mood. Instead, she greeted a room full of children with patience, warmth, and genuine curiosity. That response revealed a level of emotional maturity that is easy to overlook in a sport where toughness is celebrated and vulnerability is rarely rewarded. Yet the challenges waiting for her were far from over. The next opponent standing across the net would be one of the toughest grass court tests of her young career. The Berlin draw paired Eala against Donna Vekic, the world number 33, fresh off her Queen's Club title, an Olympic silver medalist from Paris 2024, and a Wimbledon semifinalist in the same season. Their only previous meeting had come earlier in the year at the ASB Classic in Auckland, where Eala earned a hard-fought 3-set victory, 4-6, 6-4, 6-4. But Berlin would present an entirely different challenge. This match would be played on grass, Vekic's preferred surface, and she arrived in Germany full of confidence after completing an extraordinary run from lucky loser to tournament champion just 2 days earlier. The timing could not have created a sharper contrast. On Saturday, Alex Eala calmly answered the heartfelt questions of a child who simply wanted to know why she loved tennis. Only days later, she would have to answer one of the toughest first-round assignments of the entire tournament. That is why the kids' press conference was never just a side story. It became the quiet beginning of one of the most important weeks of her season. The kids' press conference was never the story of Alex Eala's week. It was a snapshot of who she was at one very specific moment, just before the next chapter began. Beneath the smiles and the heartwarming headlines were the results that truly explained why she had earned that spotlight. By that point in the 2026 season, Eala had compiled a 24-15 win-loss record, collected $786,855 in prize money, climbed to a career-high world ranking of number 29 in March, and added another WTA 125 title to her resume with her victory in Birmingham only 8 days earlier. Those achievements were not isolated successes. They were the product of months of consistent progress across hard courts, clay, and grass. While the headlines celebrated her warmth and humility, the numbers quietly confirmed something equally important. Alex Eala was no longer simply a promising young talent. She was steadily transforming potential into tangible results, earning ranking points week after week while remaining remarkably grounded through every victory, defeat, media appearance, and trophy ceremony. Whether standing before a crowd of children, lifting a championship trophy, or preparing for one of the toughest tournaments of her season, she remained recognizably the same person. That consistency raises an important question. Who is the most reliable authority on the story unfolding before us? It is not a television pundit or a former player offering a quick opinion. There has been no defining expert quote in recent months that captures what Alex Eala has become, and inventing one would only weaken the story. The strongest voice belongs to Eala herself. Although the kids' press conference was released as a video rather than a written transcript, her words from the Birmingham Trophy ceremony remain on record. She said, "Lifting this trophy does not mean that I will be among the greats yet. So I'm motivated to keep working, and I'm grateful for the part that this trophy has played in my journey." Later that evening, reflecting on the championship match, she added, "This match was incredible. I think it was anyone's game. It's one of those days where a little bit of luck and intention was what got me through." Listen to those comments, and then watch the kids' press conference immediately afterward. The tone never changes. The humility is the same. The perspective is the same. The kindness is the same. It is not a personality she turns on when cameras begin recording. It is simply who she is. There is another subtle signal that reinforces that impression. When the WTA shared the interview online, it introduced the clip with the phrase, "asking the important questions," accompanied by a gentle emoji. That editorial choice may seem small, but it reflects how the tour itself viewed the moment. Across an entire season, the WTA produces hundreds of Media Day videos. The ones that receive that kind of framing are usually the ones that leave a genuine impression on the people producing them. Step back, and the significance of the week becomes even clearer. Berlin represented the highest-level non-Grand Slam tournament Alex Eala had entered as a singles wildcard during the 2026 season. The draw featured 6 of the world's top 10 players, making it one of the strongest fields outside the majors. Her opening round meeting with Donna Vekic was more than just another match. It was the first obstacle standing between Eala and an opportunity to measure herself against the very best players in the world. If she could get past Vekic, an even bigger opportunity would be waiting. And that possibility was exactly why all eyes had turned toward Berlin. That if Alex Eala can get through Berlin, the road ahead only becomes more demanding. Wimbledon is less than 2 weeks away, where she is preparing for just her second main draw appearance at the championships, with her seeding position still taking shape in mid-June. Beyond the grass season lies the North American hardcourt swing, beginning with the Canadian Open, followed by Cincinnati, and ultimately the US Open. Tournaments played on the surface Eala has often described as the one that best suits her game. In that sense, Berlin is more than another stop on the calendar. It is the final grass court examination before the season shifts onto the courts where many believe her greatest opportunities await. Looking back at the first half of 2026, the journey has already been remarkable. A career-defining fourth-round run at Indian Wells, valuable ranking points at Roland Garros, a WTA 125 title in Birmingham, and the difficult lesson delivered by Eva Jovic at Queen's Club have all shaped the player arriving in Berlin. The Kids press conference fits naturally within that timeline because it reveals something rankings and statistics never can. While the tennis world measures Alex through draws, rankings, and results, this moment allowed fans to measure her character. It also revealed something larger about her place in the sport. A Filipino player competing in Germany, answering questions from German children, while the WTA created a multi-platform feature around the exchange, is no longer simply a regional success story. It is evidence that Alex Eala has become a player the tour believes carries global appeal alongside many of its biggest stars. The response online reflected exactly that. Fans filled the WTA's posts with comments celebrating her warmth and kindness. Many pointed out how naturally she connected with the children, while others smiled at the coincidence of 2 girls named Alex sharing such a memorable conversation. Filipino fan pages quickly embraced the interview, not because it celebrated a victory, but because it represented something even more meaningful. It showed one of their own becoming a familiar face on the world's biggest tennis stage. That reaction speaks for itself. The challenge she carried into Berlin, however, remained very real. Only 4 days earlier, on June 10th, Eala had suffered a difficult 6-2 loss to Eva Jovic at Queen's Club, marking her second defeat to the American in just a few weeks after Roland Garros. That setback was still fresh as she arrived in Germany. 4 days separated that disappointing result from the quiet room, where a young girl held a microphone almost too large for her hands and asked a question no professional journalist had thought to ask. There is no verified quote from Eala immediately after the Queen's defeat, and there is no need to invent one. Her actions in Berlin spoke loudly enough. She appeared calm, open, and completely present despite the disappointment she had just experienced. Whether that same composure would carry her past Donna Vekic was a question the tournament itself would answer. At the time of this story, that match had not yet been played. But one thing already seemed certain. Confidence may rise and fall with results, yet Eala's poise remained remarkably consistent. That consistency may be the most valuable quality she possesses. At just 21 years old, ranked number 35 in the world, carrying a 24-15 record, and nearly $787,000 in prize money before the season had even reached its halfway point, Alex Eala was demonstrating a level of professionalism usually associated with far more experienced players. The Birmingham Trophy represented one side of her story. The painful defeat at Queen's Club represented another. But the image that may endure the longest is neither a championship celebration nor a difficult loss. It is the sight of a young girl holding an oversized microphone, asking another Alex why she loves tennis. Years from now, that quiet conversation may reveal more about the athlete Eala chose to become than any ranking ever could. The children sitting in that room, and the countless young fans watching later from Manila, Berlin, and everywhere in between were already forming their own picture of her. From one Alex to another was more than a clever caption. It became a passing of inspiration from one generation to the next. A little girl asked the question every adult press conference so often forgets to ask. And one of the world's rising stars answered with honesty, humility, and kindness. In that moment, the curtain was pulled back. Fans did not simply see the tennis player. They saw the person. And perhaps that is the most powerful victory of all. If you enjoy stories that go beyond the final score, uncovering the moments and emotions that highlights often miss, subscribe to the channel. And let us know in the comments what question you would have asked Alex Eala if you had been the one holding that microphone.